Madam Speaker, I will await the departure of the Honorable Attorney General. Before I get into the matter at hand, Madam Speaker, let me, on my personal behalf and behalf of the Alliance for Change, also offer condolences to Ms. Westford on the death of her father, Dr. Westford. What we have before us, Madam Speaker, is a most troubling, disturbing piece of legislation. And it comes in an 11th hour when elections is just 4 or 5 months constitutionally due. It would appear that because of the newfound love for enfranchising those who absolutely did not either take care after a 3-year period of getting registered, or probably for some other reason or consideration simply did not want to get registered, for them to now come and utilize in a very sensitive moment in our election period for wanting now at this stage to ensure that they become registered. You can capture me, it doesn't matter, because we are indicating that why couldn't this have been done earlier? Since 2008, the agreement started the process of being effectuated. The agreement that we're going to have a brand new register. And indeed, if we knew that there are going to be those that are not going to get registered for one reason or another, and you are doing all the scrutineering work that you have been doing right up to this year, you must have known that 5,000–6,000 people are out there who are not registered. You didn't call for that then in March this year, in February this year, when you would have done all your work as was just mentioned. You wait until the 11th hour, July, now pleading for what is called a further 13 days. By the way, 13 days, that figure, they got some evil behind it, Madam Speaker. Just cut this thing off. And they must not come here and give the impression that they have a love for enfranchisement. We have been holding back local government elections year after year after year. They don't want to have that kind of elections. We have been having what is called a continual delay and delay and delay. This, Madam, proves to us, or any discerning person, that there has absolutely some motive behind it, and that's why we find it troubling and so disturbing. And we must not be in any way condemned for making that rationalization. We know that there was all manner of propaganda to get a third term for His Excellency. You had all manner of...
On a point of order, please, Madam Speaker.
Pamphlet all over the place. What's the problem?
Mr. Corbyn just pointed out, Madam, that in this House we're obliged to tell the truth. And the Honourable Member, Presidential Candidate Mr. Ramjattan, has just said something that has continuously been denied by His Excellency President Jack Dale.
I don't mean that doesn't mean a thing. He had told us that he was legally married. I can't find the record certificate. I can't find the marriage certificate. And they're telling us what? That we must believe that? He go around the marrow 7 times and it wasn't registered. And you come here telling me that I'm lying on it? Well, please, you must understand what I am saying here. That you can come with all your fancy farce and comedy and tape it up nicely as if you do not want a delay. This bill here, its entire motive and considerations behind must be regarded as but the first step towards an extension and beyond the 28th of December deadline. This scheme is obviously to delay. It must be. I want to tell you, we have called off none. You must go to those places, let me hear. They're going to chase you away. And that is why. I want to let it be known, Madam Speaker, that indeed 13 days that will be utilized for a first, what you call extension period from now, 13 days does not necessarily mean that 13 days will be the extension period for the elections. The 13 days in which they're going to get all of these other registrants necessarily involve a whole host of other items being done, which is necessarily going to mean that this date of 28th of December not going to be met. I want to indicate to you, and that was major concern of the GCOM officials themselves. They were the ones indicating, as a matter of, yes, they were the ones indicating that there are too many things to do. That is why we cannot allow an extension of the claims and objection period. But because the powerful PBP would ask, with all the political clout and the money and the institutional arrangements, obviously they buckled. They buckled. And they buckled under the assumption, which I am absolutely certain will be proven wrong, and you mark my words, that yes, we're going to give you the monies, we're going to put in the institutional arrangements, and all of that is going to be done within that 13-day period for purposes of getting these elections done before December. You got to start up mobile units. You got to rearrange scrutineers. You got to reopen all the centers. You got to have so much monies, of course, which 40 million of which have not been paid. 40 million of which have not been paid. And then they will have to come bring supplementaries here for additional expenses and all of that. Moreover, Madam Speaker, it will not be what you call totally out of place for me also to state that although GCOM today is saying that the cross-matching will take not that lengthy time, that same GCOM was saying that we do not wait, that is the California company do not necessarily wait on Guyana. They have other work in California to do with cross-matching. So not because you will give them by the end of 28th of July or sometime in August, the people are going to simply leave what they're doing and jump on the Guyana cross-matching exercise. No. I have gotten from information from the GCOM that indicated that it could very well take months. And let me say this, the People's Progressive Party is well aware of all of that. They are well aware of all of that. And they must understand, Madam Speaker, that is why our concerns are so reasonable, relevant, and in every respect accurate. Our concerns are not the concerns of any irrational person, especially when you come down to this 11th hour. We had to take 3 years, 36 months to get his 470 or so registrants. Well, lots more than that, but about 470 in what will be regarded as the preliminary voters list. During that time, you must have known that there are going to be people left out for whatever reason. And I want to give the analogy. When we make deadlines in Guyana, we must keep those deadlines. It's like a flight out. Going to New York, you got to pay your passage, you got to get your visa, you got to do whatever necessary to go on that flight. 190 passengers are ready to fly. They got about 10 of them. Less than 1%. You're going to hold back the plane to ensure that's just what you do. You ensure that the flight goes, and those who are left back, they will catch another flight. And you must understand that what we know, the happening here, that analogy is what will be descriptive of the situation. You want, however, to let another flight come sometime probably in July 2012. Watch what's going to happen. I want to indicate, Madam Speaker, it is important to understand that I am somewhat also disappointed in the Honorable Leader of the Opposition when he tries to take the pragmatist position, stating that indeed that is what we are now forced to do. I am indicating to this House that yes, you can vote for it, that's all right. I mean, I didn't come as any surprise here this afternoon that you wouldn't vote for it. But in relation to being discriminatory, a very solid argument, Leader of the Opposition. In relation to being not the correction for the mischief, in relation to being a 9th-hour development, and you're going to say, hey, we're going to support it with these amendments, which are but hollow amendments. This is what we are indicating here. This is but what is necessarily negotiating with the PPP always provides. It is indicative of what has transpired in the history of this country. At convenient moments, we will get the two negotiating and indicate that here it is that our minds have met. Let's allow the bill to pass with whatever little amendments. That is not good enough. It is unprincipled on the grounds of discrimination. It is unprincipled because it is in the 11th hour. It is unprincipled also because it does not meet the remedy that is required for the massive mischief that we all understand it to be. And so then we are indicating that because deadlines are there, you must ensure that the deadlines be kept. It is not disenfranchising people. I want you to understand that you're going to play that up with the electorate. But let me say that this is absolutely the false argumentation. We are warning you. Let me say this. Our law has provided that when people do not register, they should be penalized. No, look at the camera. Look at this thing here. Article, as a matter of fact, that was one of the institutional arrangement in the 2007 agreement that we had, is that at least you're going to make a couple people exemplars. If they don't get registered, they might very well suffer certain penalties. This is what it is all about. You have to more or less get registered, and that is what our law provides for. If we could have done that, you might have done a couple with certain people, they would have probably realized that it is compulsory, that there is a need for them to go get registered. And you would have done that 3 years ago. 3 years ago. But no, we come in the 11th hour when the 3 years is almost coming to an end. And what we do, we more or less reward them for not being active in their civic responsibility. We reward them for not being active in their civic responsibility. But more than that, all of that has to do with the ineptness of the Home Affairs Ministry and the GRO. It is very much inept. Why at the very last moment? And by the way, Mr. Speaker, it was very clearly made to me that communication to GCOM and from GCOM was on relation to this issue, was that, look, we have certain obligations under the law why we just can't register people, why we just can't give them source documents, sorry. They have to do certain things. They have to go, because we don't know if they come from Brazil or wherever they come from. They don't know where they come from. And so the Ministry of Home Affairs was indicating to GCOM that you are only going to register people who got these source documents, which is but part of the agreement such a long time ago. Why now? It is not changing it, but why is it that you did not ensure that those people all the time previously got their source documents? Why all of a sudden, this last moment, you're bringing it up? I want also, on behalf of the Alliance for Change, to indicate that it is so strange, as a matter of fact, it's so outrageous, that on the 14th of July, we're going to have a certain commissioner arguing the case that indeed, that is Mr. Robert Williams, arguing that indeed, that there should be no reopening of claims and objections period. And this commissioner, opposition appointed, 4 days after, in the 18th of July, when there was a grand opportunity, in view of the absence of Mr. Moin McNoom, absence from the commission, he then go one big somersault and one big volte-face. What happened there? What really caused this thing? Was it a total reconfiguration of the arguments in his mind and a brand new determination? I really want to know. Here it is. Mr. Robert Williams, it is quite clear that there are certain circumstances, obviously, because it might very well be that it was the PPP's clout that caused it to happen. As to what that clout will be, I would now want to mention here.
Madam Speaker, the issue, I think it is normal parliamentary practice that we do not call persons who are not here in the House and who have no right to reply. I think it's infra-dig, and the member should be asked to desist from doing that.
Yes, I agree, Honourable Member. I think this is the rule, Mr. Ramjattan, that we don't criticize people by name when they're not here in the House and cannot give account.
It's really, I thought it might have been allowed because it's a very valid criticism, but in view of your ruling, I will just pass it. But anybody can use their imagination. 14th and 18th. 14th and 18th. Well, my dear, you are going to ensure that you probably give us an explanation now that it would appear that you know. Madam Speaker, the AFC wants to also indicate that there is what is called on the bill itself, the actual bill is so open-ended. It is absolutely open-ended to the extent that we really do not or cannot support such a thing. This says, notwithstanding anything in this act or any regulations, and then it goes on to say, the Commission shall consider the information laid before it, where it is reasonable. Now, I understand that there might have been an amendment to that by the PNC, but laid before it, duly observing the procedures for registration of those eligible electors. Now, again, if we take out the word where it is reasonable and employ the words in the amendment drafted by Mr. Robert Corbyn and Basil Williams, honorable members Williams and Mr. Corbyn, it still makes it all the more that these numbers of registrants that will be there for the 13-day period, they have to go through all the procedures for the registration of those names. That must be the case. We understand that. And I'm saying that in the context that all those procedures now have to be passed, all those procedures will have to be adhered to. It necessarily means more time even.
Not necessarily.
Well, you can plead and state with me that it's not. But I am mentioning to you, it's a concern of ours. It is a concern of ours, and indeed, it's not imagination. You don't understand their imagination over there. They have brilliant minds, and they will tell you that this is but it, and they are not going to in any way do it. I know of that. They are the kind of people who will tell you one thing, do another. And you know that in the PNC. So I don't know why you're quarreling with me. You know that. As a matter of fact, you yourself have indicated how hypocritical they are. I want to also indicate... I want to let it be known, Mr. Speaker, that why is it, if they are so certain that they are going to have the elections before the 28th of December, they don't announce the date or indicate. I am absolutely certain that at least if you're certain that it's going to happen before the 28th, that you can announce the date. But they're not going to announce the date. They are going to indicate now that we have problems with the California company. We are not getting the finances, and for another variety of reasons, especially as mentioned where they have all those voters coming from, the interior regions. They want some monies from the Norwegian funds to start flowing, and they probably were told that indeed the monies are going to come December. We will imagine it all. We will imagine it all. Is it true that all of a sudden you want those voters to be on the list when you never wanted them before? Because you feel now that you're going to have what is called, this money is for that late spread and that late spin. Madam, it is obvious that the People's Progressive Party and are running. Obviously they feel something is wrong, so we have to go put on this 5,000 votes. That is what they feel. The number's not looking good, so they want now to put a 5,000 more, and they claim enfranchisement. Oh my God, only 3 months ago they were indicating that they're going to win with 65%. 2 months now gone, and they're saying that we want another 5,000 to be on. The Alliance for Change, Madam Speaker, have indicated quite clearly in a press release that this thing is full of suspicions, pregnant with the possibility of an adjourned elections and all that it entails. We are saying to this Honorable House that we suspect that that is going to be the case. And we are indicating quite clearly now that it should not be, and it should not be one bit of it should be allowed in here. We are not going to support this bill. It cannot be supported. And we are indicating that watch and see. Just watch and see. It's a nation will have its eyes on what is happening here. And in that score then, Madam Speaker, I wish to inform this House that the Alliance for Change will hold a principled position that we must keep our deadlines. We must keep our deadlines whenever we make them, that if June 9th was the deadline for claims and objections period, let that be the deadline. Not because of certain political clout of the PVP to find 5,000 names and bring it here and allow it to happen. It causes the GCOM to be very, what you call, lack independence. It becomes partial. How do we know that when the period is finished, another 5,000 names are found? And then we have the situation, because of this amendment, we say that we would like to have those 5,000 names further. It is unprecedented, and it creates a bad precedent. And those are our concerns. You must understand them. And I feel that in that being the score, this bill is fraught with danger. Fraught with danger to the extent that it cannot be supported at all by the Alliance for Change. Thank you very much. We hold a principled position.
Honourable Member, Mr.